This is Political Common Sense for America, and I'm Brian Boeheim, the political engineer. And in this particular video, I want to start a conversation. One of the things I'm getting is a lot of comments and a lot of emails about where the money is being spent and how our taxes are. And there's a lot of assumptions and misinformation out there. And I want to clear this up once and for all. So this particular video, I want to start the conversation with, where is our money going? When you're paying taxes, when you're paying into Social Security, where does that money go and how is it divvied up? So let's take a quick look at that. So let's start out by understanding that in 2009, the federal budget was $3.5 trillion. Now, how does that $3.5 trillion breaks up is very important because a lot of people, all sides of it, are talking about how this money is all pooled together. You can't look at it that way because if we start pooling it all together, we're allowing the federal government to have too much power and too much control. So let's take a look. This is the way it breaks down. The discretionary budget is $1.2 trillion. Mandatory programs, or otherwise known as the non-discretionary budget, is $2.1 trillion. And then we've got roughly an interest payment due of $187 billion. Now, one thing I want to make very clear is that the discretionary budget is what should be covered by federal income tax. That is what federal income tax is for. That is what it was set up for, that is what it is meant for, that is what it should be for. Mandatory programs are a different issue and should be funded differently. So let's take a look at that. In 2009, this is what it looks like. If you look at the blue area, that's security, that's Department of Defense, National Security, Homeland Security, it was $782 billion. Non-security oriented infrastructure was $437 billion. Now let's take a look at the mandatory programs and non-discretionary that should not be covered by our income tax. Social Security, $678 billion. And for the first time, it's more going out than coming in. Medicare, $425 billion. And again, a lot more going out than coming in. Medicaid, $251 billion. Just another huge number. TARP. Now, TARP's kind of a funny one because personally I think that's going to get all paid back and managed and handled at the end of the day. But then there's another $607 billion that hangs out there in other programs. Here's my net on this particular video. We have to keep the discretionary budget or the security and infrastructure separate from the mandatory programs. They should be funded different. Income tax needs to handle discretionary budget. Mandatory programs should be funded separately. Otherwise, what we have is the federal government controlling and manipulating the dollars all over the place and across the board without any level of transparency. And that's part of how we got in this problem in the first place. We started to let them flip the money back and forth across those lines. We need to stop that, shut that down, and eliminate that starting right now.